capital S self, is on the highest level of devotion, a Bhagavatotama, an Uttama Bhagavata, topmost devotee. His interest, so he was expressing explicitly, his interest was to see to the welfare of others. This love of God notion is a nice notion, but seeing the well-being of others is what he wanted. So we have such examples. I'm going to give two of them right from the Bhagavatam. Some of you may know when Krishna returned from Vrindavan to Mathura, he was brought by chariot by Akrura, and as he entered into Mathura one by one, he received garments, he received from Kubja, he received fragrances and sandalwood paste. From a weaver, he received ornaments, and then he met Sudama, the florist. And there's a wonderful description from Garga Samhita. I'll say it quickly. Florists are always interested in getting really good flowers. And he heard they have really nice flowers in Vrindavan. He's from Mathura, and Vrindavan and Mathura are not so far away. So he ventured into Vrindavan, searching for places where he could find flowers. And one day, from a distance, he saw Krishna. And he was stunned. And when he saw Krishna and was stunned, he couldn't get Krishna off his mind. Not like he wanted to get, but Krishna stayed in his mind. And so he often went back to gather flowers in Vrindavan. Where is Krishna? Will I see Krishna again? So he became a Krishna bhakta in search of flowers. And he intuitively understood Krishna will fulfill my desire to see him again. And sure enough, Krishna came right to his door with Balaram and some cowherds, seeking, without even Krishna saying. The florist spoke to Krishna, described his appreciation for Krishna and Balaram, and he knew what Krishna wanted, and so he offered this most fragrant garland to Krishna and Balaram. And Krishna was so pleased. So Krishna said, I've come to your door because you please me so much by your devotion. You can ask from me anything you like. Now there's some places like that in the Bhagavatam. Lord Nrsimhadev asked Prahlad, anything you like, it's yours. So here's what the florist asked for. He asked for unshakable devotion for Krishna. There's a verse, this is directly quoting from the Bhagavatam. He also asked for friendship with his devotees, but he also requested transcendental compassion for all living beings. So any one of those, what the goal is number one. But number one is not minus number two, and 1 and 2 are not minus number 3. The transcendental perspective on the golden rule, it's not just doing unto others. The transcendental perspective is unlimited devotion to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You'll hear some more on this as we go along this weekend. And almost the same, this is the 10th canto, back in the first canto, after we hear all these wonderful things about Maharaj Parikshit and his qualities as a person from his birth, chapter 12, and so forth and so on, all the way up to chapter 18, he gets cursed by the son of a Brahmana. All of that is, Krishna and, Maharaj Parikshit and his associates, the Pandavas, etc. So when he's cursed, he goes to the side of the holy river, the Ganges, in taking off his royal garments and his crown and turning everything over to his son, the next king, Janamejaya. And he invites all the sages to come and advise him. So this shows Maharaj Parikshit instructing him. But before Maharaj Parikshit came, he spoke to the sages, the holy people that had assembled there. I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. So the Vaishnava perspective on the Golden Rule is not just number 3, but number 1 and number 2. And or not just number 1 and number 2 without number 3. We don't put to the side acts of kindness for others. It's core to our life as Vaishnavas. But when we do so, it's with the purpose of pleasing Krishna, because pleasing Krishna is everything. So that service to Krishna is essential, and the compassion for all living beings is essential. And the best service we can do to others, your best friend or your best friends are, according to Ramananda Roy, those who remind you of Krishna. Those are your best friends. Those are your best friends. And if you want to be the best friend of others, remind them of Krishna. But when you remind them of Krishna, maybe like Bhakta Joe, where you just start with meditation through sound, along with his interest in meditation. And then Krishna's arrangement, there are some devotees in Tuscaloosa. Hey, so I put the devotees in Tuscaloosa in touch with Bhakta Joe, who doesn't even know he's a Bhakta yet. But, they'll help him. And, I coached them a little bit. This is what he knows. Take it slow. And, they're non-resident Indian grad students at the University of Alabama. Take it slow, Prabhu, because he doesn't know anything. So let's see what happens. But at least, there's a beginning, and he'll get a Bhagavad Gita, and he'll get a set of beads, and, let's see where it goes. So we have to be similarly, if your antenna is up, if you're desiring, there's a biblical saying, another one, seek and ye shall find. Have you heard that one before? If you're looking for something, you're more likely to find it than if you're not looking for that something. If you're looking for that something, doors will open that you didn't even know existed, and through the door comes what you were looking for. And if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see the door, it wouldn't come through the door. It's Krishna reciprocating with the desire of his devotee. So if we keep the desire of our founder Acharya in the center of our heart, Krishna will send you opportunities that you didn't even know existed before. Just hold it in your heart, calmly and quietly, and don't do too much when it comes. Don't tell Bhakta Joe too much, because you might run the other way. These people are fanatics. Or I don't understand their language and terminology, it's too much. So keep it really simple. Just hold their hand and find out what step they're comfortable taking, and take that one little step with them. And if they want to run too fast, you may want to say, slow down a little bit. Don't just, let's go one step at a time. Make sure we understand what step 1 is before you go to step 10. And so forth. One other little example, and I'm done for this evening. This is another example of Western outreach, reaching the hearts and the minds of Western people. This term mindfulness, it's another marketable buzz out there. So learn about it. Learn about it in a way that can be relevant and relatable to people that don't know Bhagavad Gita, they don't know Krishna, they don't know a lot of things. They, even in terms of mindfulness, they have a very interesting idea of what mindfulness is. The mindful manager. Anyway, learn about it so that you can speak something relevant, relatable to them, and then help them on the interest that they may have in mindfulness. A presentation that I've made many times in colleges, where they don't know nothing about nothing, but they've heard mindfulness, and they're interested to learn the art of mindfulness. The principle is know your audience, be an instrument of our founder Acharya's will, his mission. What's important to them? What's meaningful to them? Find out what's, just like this thing at LAX. I was bowled over. It was like every fourth image that kept changing with this digital thing was something about the golden rule. That's marketing. I mean, those people know what they're doing. What sells their business product is the golden rule. So people like it. Their studies tell them people like it. They can relate to it. Find out what's meaningful to others and give support to that which is meaningful to others, and carefully, knowing your audience well, one by one, is probably best than large groups of people. One by one relationship, a little step and little step. And it's not like you keep Krishna in a box and then all of a sudden he comes out of a box, because you're a devotee. But you use language that's relevant and relatable to them. You know what's in your heart. And they get close to your heart and they find Krishna. Okay, so any discussion? Do we have a portable microphone? Oh, you do. Just put up your hand if you'd like to contribute to this discussion.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. My question is related to a couple that, they were in book distribution, and I think they were from Christian faith. So they were just going door to door and just wanted to distribute some books, and they wanted us to visit.
Buy their books.
Pardon me?
They wanted you to buy their books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And be in the church, in the program. So, they stayed there with us on our door for about 25-30 minutes, and we were talking. And so I was trying to bring commonality between their faith and mine. But every time I tried to do that, they were kind of trying to tell me that, see, both of us cannot be right. Either you have to be right or I'll be right. So in such situations, what should be the way forward?
Offer them prasadam and...
Okay.
The interest of a person, when you see a person is like that, you're a target for converting. That's how some persons are not like that. Some persons are like that. You're a target to be changed from that-ism to this-ism. That's their goal. And if that's their goal, stubborn, then there's not much to talk about. They're not being respectful. You're a target. So you offer them some prasadam, they'll probably say no. And okay. well, whatever, you make some polite excuse that says, you know, I'm going to close the door now.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So when speaking to a Western audience in the temple or outside during the book distribution, how much is the language we should use where, you know, like true Krishna conscious language, or toning down and use the word God, like when Prabhupada was trying to name ISKCON, you know, Prabhupada says, no, it could be Krishna conscious, not God consciousness.
Well, it depends on the person, how much language. And these days, for Western audiences at least, generally speaking, the God word makes people close the door. Or close their mind. Or close their heart. Just the God word. So you have to find some other words. But if you find the person is not like that, then you can use the God word. But, you know, Krishna, they don't know who Krishna is. You know, they don't know who Krishna is. A historical person, you know, a saint, or, you know, they have no idea who Krishna is. So it's more a matter of finding out what, as I said, what their interest is, especially so with book distribution. But in a short period of time, intuitive devotees can understand somebody likes this. And then you help them understand how the book will help them with this, the interest they have. And it's not a stretch of the imagination, it's a fact. So the art is to find out what their interest is. And so sometimes you can just ask some generic questions. You know, book distributors know, I don't need to do a book distribution class right now. Book distributors know, and there's training to help you understand what are the questions that they may ask. What's important to them. And this book will help you with that which is important to you. There's regular coaching available for book distributors to learn the art of connecting quickly, because when you're on book distribution, generally you don't have that much time per person. Generally, most people won't stand there for 25, 30 minutes unless they want to convert you. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, let me see if I can articulate my question in a way you can understand. When you are urging like somebody like me who is a non-resident Indian, I feel a culture plays a lot in connecting with people.
Yes.
So for a Western, especially an American in today's society, what is it that attracts them? Because as soon as they see that you belong to a religious group or something, most of the time the antennas are on and they're cautious. So what are they looking that kind of attracts them to even have a conversation? Because when I joke or I say something to an Indian devotee, because I come from that background, it's like a joke. But same thing when I've said or done with people coming from different culture, it's a sensitive issue. So the nuances of how to interact, like...
Aside from nationality, age is another really big differential. And it's really hard to say in generalities, you know, where to begin a dialogue. For me, it's pretty easy. You know, I'm wearing my flag. I'm dressed in it. So people ask me. And some people just ask out of curiosity. It's really clear. It's just out of curiosity. They don't really want to go anywhere with it. They're just like, you know, have an itch and they want to scratch it. Like, you know, are you with a religious organization? I start to chuckle and think of saying, well, it's not Halloween. But I don't say that. I've thought of it more than once, but you know. It's similar to the book distribution question. It's not a cookie cutter answer that, so what is somebody interested in? I mean, are you vegetarian? Yeah, do you do some type of yoga or meditation? Very open-ended. You know, what's your basically what are your values? I mean, inquire a lot, that you're interested in them, not just like to hook on something that's in them, but because you're interested in them. And it can even be as something as, you know, as worldly as how they're dressed. And it starts a conversation. And with the conversation, then you find something out about what you know, the student. Because I travel a lot and meet people all the time. And sometimes they don't even take heed at all that I'm in a dhoti and a shaved head and tilak. That tells me something. But you know, some people are just curious. And then some people want to go more deeply. So you just flow with whatever their interest is. Because minimally, there's an impression they're making of the whole Hare Krishna movement from that 3-minute, 5-minute exchange. They're judging everybody else based upon those 3-5 minutes of conversation. That's an important function, that they feel, here's a warm person. They're not rigid, they have a sense of humor. I mean, I had a kid come up and stand right in front of me and said, "You're funny." I like you have a good sense of humor, kid. So you're cool. So at least be warm, and then if they want to open, people that have a little modest degree of social skill can understand somebody has some social, warmth and some exchange, and you find out. Where's the microphone? Oh, okay.
Guru Maharaj, you encouraged us to learn about mindfulness, and within the yoga realm, mindful practice is, big part of the journey.
Yeah.
And yet, I do not know where to go within our devotional teachings to go to the 201 or 301 level of mindfulness. Do you have any recommendation for me?
Depends on your audiences. Some people don't want to go there. So, generally speaking, it's good to have a base of people that, there's somebody else I know that does a cooking class. Vegetarian cooking class. It's 100% American. Large cooking class. And they don't want to go anywhere. They like the person. They know the person's a devotee. They don't want to go anywhere. They like the person, they like the cooking, they like the association together. They're kind of they don't want to go to 201. And, selectively they brought them to the temple after some number of months just to see, and they see, and, they smile, and they don't want to go anywhere. So if people don't want to go anywhere, you can't, but if you have a base, then somewhere along the line, there's going to be somebody that wants to go somewhere, and then you selectively help them according to their interest go to the next level. It can just be on a one-on-one exchange, not necessarily, the group. Depends on if they want to take the next step. And a lot of it has to do with the relationship. In one university, it was keeping at a certain level for a long time. There was a changeover in leadership of that university, and it really picked up. People started chanting japa. So it's the relationship. It's not necessarily the venue. The audience. It's a strength of relationship, and that's my experience anyways.
I feel like I've not been clear about my question. I'm looking for further training in mindfulness.
You want.
Yes.
Oh.
From a devotional perspective, where can I go?
Oh.
Because in the
Okay,
yoga
that's-
realm, I deal
I
with
thought you were
mindfulness.
saying, how do I take the audience to the next level?
Well, that's the purpose. Because within the yoga realm, mindfulness is so important, and yet I know books on mindfulness,
No.
but I'm looking for devotional.
I would suggest it's just your personal journey into mantra meditation. Sound. Mindfulness through sound. And you become experienced internally, and externally have tools that can help convince you and to assist others in they're taking the journey to 201. What are tools that will help a person that doesn't have faith in transcendental sound to go to transcendental sound instead of just mindfulness? Go from impersonalism to personalism. And what are tools that will help? So you do that yourself. So I don't know of any course you can take for mindfulness 201 for a devotee, other than what I just said, personal journey. And so now up front, raise your hand.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was thinking, just a couple of days ago I was reading, in Canto 1, Chapter 3, it was talking about like an incarnation of Krishna as a fish to protect a family from like the flood that was happening on the earth, right? So, and then other times I've read things about like, this kid kept going to found Krishna in the forest, and he gave him this cup of yogurt that when he poured it, it just kept flowing. When he brought it to class as an offering, and when he poured it, it kept. So in many ways, I've found connections that seem very similar to stories in the Christian Bible.
Sure.
And so in my mind,
There's
this
a
is
connection.
how I connect.
Yeah.
Because I come from a Christian background. And so I'm asking, is it wrong to talk to other people that I know, black devotees, black people about these connections that I find that seem very similar? Is it wrong to compare the Vedas to stories that in the Christian Bible, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Jesus Christ, in a sense? That's how I saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a while.
Well, I would recommend that you be cautious, not in sharing as much as, what's the source of your making the connection between this and that? In other words, that which inspires born of speculation doesn't carry the same spiritual potency as that which you hear in disciplic succession.
Well, when I was reading that story just a couple days ago, I wasn't comparing it like speculation. It just made me feel good to see some relation.
Okay. If that's the extent of it, no problem. It didn't change what I said.
Yeah, but when talking to other people, I'm not sure
Yeah, it's
if
okay.
they're speculating.
Well, you probably are, but that's okay.
I just see it as
Because
God
all
is
that you're
all,
doing,
right?
all that you're doing is you're sharing your experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's warm and personal.
Yeah.
I feel good, and then they can say, I feel not good.
Mm.
but you're feeling good, and you're sharing you're feeling good, and I'm feeling good because this reminds me of that. I see it, I sense a connection between this and that. It's part of it's part of the same message, this
Right.
mindfulness or anything else, the golden rule. Oh, that's something I accept. Now I'm finding it over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like even the story of Queen Kunti and the baby in the water and like Moses, I find so many similarities that's what kind of drew me in, is the
Fine.
similarities.
Fine.
Yeah.
And share that, not that like that's the absolute truth.
Right. Yeah.
That's the distinction.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable. I feel like connected. I feel
Right.
warm and fuzzy. I feel good about this. You're not making a statement, this is equal to that,
Yeah.
and they're the same thing. Just describing a feeling.
Mm.
Fine? Someone in the back?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was able to make friendship with two ladies. One was American and one was Japanese. So they used to come to my house. They were very happy to sit in our living room, and I observed them. They were constantly watching the deities and they felt very happy. They happily ate the prasadam, but they were always very alert when not to talk about the religion.
Not to talk about?
Religion.
Okay.
So somehow things, although I am still friends with them, but for last 2 years I had no time to connect with them, to invite them, but things did not move on after that. They came many times, but they did not try to discuss about the philosophy or anything.
Well, you're asking a similar question to the other questions, and my response is, you can't make what I thought was Sri Radhika's question. You can't bring somebody to 201 that doesn't want to even go to 101. They like you, and that's nice. So let them continue to like you. Find other people that want to go the next step. You continue friendship, no problem. And don't try to get them to go to 101 or 201 because they don't want to go. Just, maintain a friendship.
Sure.
And look for people that want, so that's just, keep a base. So well.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. You're encouraging us individually to reach out. And I was thinking also institutionally, how can we modify our program to also be more inviting or effective in one sense? And without compromising also, because in one sense, our programs is very good to take care of our Indian community. So without compromising that, how can we also make a program relevant for Western audiences, institutionally?
Well, that's a big question. And my answer will go back to the preliminary. Starts on an individual basis before it goes to the institutional. It has to start on the individual basis. If there are some individuals here, and there are some, not if, there are some individuals here, and those individuals here that resonate with the message, they'll find a way. And it may be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. It could be any number of different things. But they'll find a way. And one of the things that one of the items that is essential is relationship. And it may very well be that a gathering place that's comfortable for them, just like, you know, we have some of our Russian devotees, they like coming to the temple, but they especially like their association together. Fantastic. And, you know, there was, without going further, how many Spanish people are there in this neighborhood? How many Spanish people are there in Chicago? How many black people are there in Chicago? How many Italian people are in Chicago? How many Russian people are in Chicago? How many Chinese people? And how many of those people are we reaching? So it may be that they need to have gatherings in their group. And just have gatherings in their group and have gatherings with them where you're relevant and relatable to what they're interested in. Institutionally. Be very personal and personable. And then different persons are going to be comfortable in different ways. And you find those ways because you're interested in fulfilling the mission of our founder Acharya on an individual basis. That's how we can move forward from where we are. We're not stuck. We just have to be creative and mindful. And, you know, help one another. Prasadam. I was waiting for you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Regarding Subal's question, yesterday I spoke with the coordinator of domestic violence at Centro Romero, a community center. We gave 3 meditation workshops to victims and of domestic violence, and they want to continue and be part of, they want us to be part of their program for this year. I spoke yesterday with Patricia, and she said that she's going to send me the possible dates that we can participate, and that is a beginning. That is a really important beginning because these women are really, really interested into participating in our workshop. So there you go.
Individually. That's how the institution will move. Up front, and I think we'll end with this. Could you raise your hand again so he knows? Could you put your hand up? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Few years ago, you, under your leadership, organized a Western outreach seminar in this temple.
Yes.
I was fortunate to attend that one, and that was very inspiring. I think you formed different groups and committees, and you were expecting some outcomes.
Yeah.
And
it fizzled like usual.
Okay. So I just wanted to know, after that, was there similar effort in different places?
I followed up with the leaders of those groups, and the leaders of those groups reported back the moment faded over time and people got busy doing other things. Now, and that's as far as the groups are concerned, but some persons, the good news is, some persons took what they received here and they implemented it in their own ways, like without giving examples. So it didn't happen on a group level, it happened, Subal, it happened on an individual level. Some persons became inspired and they felt, now I have some tools, and they took those tools and they used those tools. It didn't happen on a group level, it happened on an individual level. And now it's, one of those individuals is being invited to multiple temples to show them how to do that in their temple. In a specific Western outreach. Because they're very successful. Okay, we'll end there. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.